I cannot hear you.
I cannot hear you. I cannot hear you.
Is it only me?
Is
I
it
tried
only me?
entering
I
in
tried
my cell
entering
phone, it's the
in my
same.
Me neither.
Let's try again. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. I thought it
Yes.
was me.
No, it's I've noticed this before. There is something weird happening with my Teams. If I unmute myself, it does unmute Teams, but it does not unmute my microphone, my physical microphone. All right. So let's restart.
Yes, please, because I
Yeah.
was hearing nothing and I said, okay, I'm back, but
Yeah, no
um,
problem. No problem.
I thought it
So
was me.
from our perspective, what are we going to do? We're going to look at orders.
I'm not seeing your
And
screen either.
that is okay.
Sorry about that.
No,
Just
that's
saying.
that's I remember I just switched that off. I thought it was related to that. Can you see my screen now? There we go. You can hear me. You can see my screen. You can see me.
Yay!
Good.
Yes.
So we're
Now
good to go.
everything is on.
Managing orders. What are we going to look at? We're going to look at, of course, the order processing. And in this case, we are going to cover the basics quickly because we did that in the commerce for end users. But I want to take this one step deeper where we're going to look at where do these order statuses come from? What can you do? Because we will see that order statuses are part of this module. So let's quickly go into where we are in the whole process of our service. We were in the process of service creation, our service plans, where we discussed PLM and manual creation, etc. And of course, what we're doing now is we're taking things in the next step. Order process. So, what is an order? For us, an order is a request from the customer to the seller related to a product or a service. What we are talking about is you can order a subscription, you can order a device, you can order, and related to a product or a service could indeed be mean we ship you a box, we ship you your phone, we ship you your laptop, but it could also mean that we send you a license code. You can download the software. To use it, you have to enter that license code. And something else could also be that we provision a login for you that is based on your email address. You can reset the password yourself, but we make sure you can access that service. So access to a service is very broad, and orders can be very broad. And the thing is that when we look at orders, there are multiple types of orders. And the ones we see most of the time are on this slide. A sales order is, of course, the 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 basis of a subscription. I want to buy this service for a year. I want to use this service for a year. So that's the sales order. Change orders are change orders in general. We it is anything that is related to the change of the service. It could be an upgrade or downgrade of the entire service. You go from E1 to E3 or from E3 to E1. But it could also mean a change order is also related to additional licenses. I have an E3 subscription and I had two licenses, but I hired two more people. So I need two more licenses within the same subscription. Also, that is a change order. Or because business is going bad, I need to cancel two licenses. So a downsize of the subscription. Of course, change orders are within the limits and can only be within the limits of what the service and the vendor allow you. We have our stuff in place to make sure that that works. And the last order type that we see most common, or we see most often, are billing orders. Hopefully you see a lot of those because that means you make a ton of money, because every month we bill the customer. How do we bill the customer? By generating a billing order. We generate a billing order either per customer, if you have set up the customer class like that, bill per customer per account. But you could even have a billing order per subscription, if that is how you set up the customer account per bill per subscription. Which means that if a customer has 10 subscriptions, you will see 10 billing orders for that customer alone per month. And how do they work together during the subscription lifecycle? This is something we covered in the for end user training, but let's quickly go through it. A sales order starts the first subscription period. The pink bar, red bar, I'm not sure how you see it. I see it as a pink bar. Starts the subscription period. And that means that along the way, there will be billing orders. Assuming that this is a before billing period or an after billing period scenario. Looking at the image, it's a before billing period. How do I see that? Because there is no billing order at the end of this month. So in the sales order, you pay for the first month here, then this billing order pays for that, this billing order pays for that, and this billing order pays for that month. Or billing period, I should say. Of course, somewhere along the way of the subscription, there could be a change order. Could be additional licenses, could be an upgrade, could be a downgrade, whatever it is, depending on, of course, what the policy allows you. If nothing happens and the subscription was not auto-renewing, this subscription will end where it sits now. However, most of the products that we create nowadays are with auto-renewal enabled. That means that there will be a renewal order at this point, which means that the second subscription period starts. And that means that our billing orders continue to run on a monthly basis. If the customer now wants to stop using his subscription, he has to place, or he can do either of two things. He can switch off auto-renewal, in which case the subscription will end at this point. He will go into grace period, he will go into hold period, etc., etc. Or if he does not want to wait for the end of his subscription period and the service and vendor allow it, and I have to add that because Microsoft does not allow it anymore, he can place a cancellation order. So the first three order types we saw: sales order, change order, billing order. We now also saw that there are two additional order types. Renewal orders, hoping you have a lot, meaning that your customers are happy with your services, and a cancellation order. I hope you don't get those. The downside of a cancellation order is that a cancellation order normally, and I'm not talking about Microsoft, etc., but normally would stop the service at that point. And then somebody needs to approve the cancellation order, or it's done automatically, and the service is canceled. With new policies, you might need to place a delayed cancellation order. That's also an option nowadays. These orders have statuses, and we went through a couple of those. These are just a few statuses. Here we have more statuses that have an impact. Where do these statuses come from? These statuses come from the order flow. And the order flow looks something like this. You have a new order, and along the way, the system passes that order through different statuses, through different states, where verification might be done, where details might be verified, where payment methods are checked, where the payment is made, where the service eventually is provisioned, and after provisioning, the invoice is ready, and then the order goes to complete it. Thing is that along the way, things can go wrong, of course. So what you see here now are the, let's say, under the hood statuses that the system will see in each stage, because what we see here are I would almost say, stages in the process. We have a new order where we verify the customer data and the order details. Then we verify if there is a payment method, and if the payment is successful, then we go for service provisioning as a stage, and then the invoice generation is also a stage. Along the way, each stage can have multiple statuses, or the order gets multiple statuses. This is probably the first status that you will actually encounter. It's not the actual first status that an order has. There are a couple of pre-new actions. If that order is picked up, and when an order is placed in a marketplace in UX1 by the customer or whatever, this order automatically opens, means that it's going to be processed. Status is OP. Customer details are verified. The system will create order details, meaning that it's looking at each order line and see whether it needs to split it up into different provisioning orders. Let's say the customer placed an order for Office 365 and Acronis and Dropbox. Those are 3 different provisioning steps or provisioning items. So that is what we do in creating order details. When the order processing starts, the system notices that there is no payment method. So the system wants a payment, whether that's a fake payment or not. If there is no payment method, the order cannot proceed. So it goes into the NP status, no payment method attached. In the description, it says payment method not attached, but from my perspective, if it says NP, it's payment method not attached. So somebody has to fix that. Either you request the customer to go in and fix it, or since this is maybe a bogus payment method and you bill them from outside, you fix it. If it's fixed, the system goes further. It goes for waiting for payment. Oh, let's click a button. It goes for waiting for payment or for waiting for approval. Waiting for payment if we have an actual credit card and it goes to the credit card company, collects the money. Waiting for approval would happen, for instance, if you have fraud screening set up. If the system has a fraud filter that says that this might be a fraudulent transaction, so somebody again has to look at it, it sits and waits in the WA status. Waiting for payment is also a status where it could be blocked, but if you have a let's say a real credit card system behind it, it goes there at that moment. The order goes into waiting for payment. We connect to the credit card company. We tell the credit card company, hey, this is us. I want to charge this credit card and I want to charge this much to my account. If that happens, we get an okay back and the payment is received, which means that the order goes into the paid status. Of course, after that, provisioning starts. And provisioning could go into provisioning and then it waits, or it fails, or it goes into long-running operation. Provisioning failed is not a nice thing. That means you have to troubleshoot and then process it again. Process it again does not start it from here. It starts from there. So it realizes that the payment has been received. So it picks it up where it left off. So we have our provisioning, long-running operation service provisioned. If we fix that, the service is provisioned, we create the invoice. And our order goes to complete it. All those blue buttons are actual statuses that you can see in the order. And where do you find your orders? Of course, you find those orders in the order workspace in billing. You see the order type there. You see the order number and the order ID. Order ID is a unique thing. Order number could be the same in different sellers. So in reseller 1, it could be change order 01, and in reseller 2, there is also probably a change order 1. But the order ID will always be unique. So if you need to troubleshoot at provider level, at platform owner level, for one of your subsidiaries, ask them for the order ID, not for the order number, because the order ID is unique across the platform. The order number might be the same. Different types of orders and different types of, let's say, statuses where orders are stuck in. And these are a couple of things I want to demonstrate that might help you use the platform a little bit better to troubleshoot orders and everything around it. So let me cancel this slide deck because the rest we've seen. What I want to go into now is a platform demonstration. A demonstration where I show you a couple of those things. First of all, if you look at orders, and probably this is not the most interesting thing for you to see at this moment, but if we go to billing and we look at orders, there are your orders, right? Order number. If you want to see the order ID, there, that column is always hidden. I'm not sure why it's off, but from a provider perspective, I would rather have wait time or updated by not visible than order ID, because order ID allows me to search for it and find every single unique order that the system knows about, even if it's an order for, let's say, your sub reseller's customer. If he gives you, hey, there's something wrong with this order. Okay, give me the order ID. I look at the order ID and I always get the individual order that he is referring to or she is referring to. Then we have these. These are what we call order queues. And order queues are things you as, let's say, admin can create for your different operational groups. What do I mean with that? Let me show you. If I go at the system level to settings, to order processing, I can create order queues. And by default, at provider level, there are 4 or 5 created. However, if you want more, you can create them yourself. One of the things you can do is you can say, okay, I want everything that is in, this is for waiting for payment status. Don't make it too long because it's what is put in the tab, and you assign it to a role that you have created, which means that only that role can see this tab. But that could be, for instance, if this is payment related, everything that is in a status that requires some kind of payment thing, it's the finance team, right? So if they have access to this platform, they should get a tab from you. A tab that gives them their relevant information. They don't care about technical issues where provisioning failed. They really don't care. Because they can see it and they cannot fix it. So make sure you assign those tabs to the right groups. In my case, I have to add it to the full access group because I want to demonstrate it, and I'm in the full access role. What I can do now is I can add queue details. Basically, what do I want to see? I want to see sales orders in the waiting for payment status. And I want to see that including my reseller. So I can trigger my reseller and tell them, hey, make sure you fix this. But not only sales orders, I want to see that for change orders as well. And maybe cancellation orders. A cancellation order has not a waiting for payment status. All right. Which is weird. Oh, cancellation is not available. What is a cancellation order then? Oh, CF, sorry. CF in the, do we have a WP here? Yeah, waiting for payment we have there. So anything where the customer or where an order is stuck in the waiting for payment status, I want to see. I don't have to enable this. The moment I now go to orders, there is a waiting for payment item, and I see that there are actually 10 orders that are waiting for payment. And in this case, it's all sales orders. So we have to now go in and fix that. That is what your order queues allow you to do. Be very creative in that. Whatever you think you should be, let's say, what you need to be on top of. And what do I mean with that? I mean with that you don't want to wait for the customer to call you that there is something wrong, but you want to beat your customer to the issue. You can create a tab for this. Or add multiple issues to the same tab if you want to. Because in this case, we've got blocked orders. There are 11, where most of them are waiting for payment. And the only thing here is it's a billing order that is also waiting for payment. So maybe I should now add to this tab, not only that I have sales orders, change orders, and cancellation orders, but also billing orders that are waiting for payment. I can go in, I go to my order processing, I go to my order queue, select the right one, and add another queue detail that is a billing order in the WP status, including resellers. So now my new tab has 11 things. The other advantage of those tabs, even though I enter here, is when I come in the morning, just a figure of speech, but when I come in, I can go to this order queue thing and see what I need to do. If every tab has 0 in it, it means that I'm ready. I don't have to troubleshoot anything. In this case, since I now see 11 on 2 tabs, I quickly go in and compare. So now I know, okay, it's not 22 things that I need to fix, but I'm only required to fix 11 things. And if I fix it in one tab, it's the same issue in the other tab. I'm happy. Order queues, like I said, are assigned to a role. If you're not in that role, even as a full admin, you don't see it. So you really have to think about what information should I see, what information I don't care if I don't see it, but my finance team should see it. All those things can be used in these order queues. Besides that, on order processing, one of the things I can do is I can look at the actual order flows itself and maybe manipulate it a little bit. If you want, for instance, by default, the sales order created in the classic panel sits in the new status until somebody goes in and manually clicks open, which is weird because you place the order, you have checked it, verified it with the customer, and you automatically want that one to open, right? So you might want to change specific flows in how they work. the first thing you need to know here is that the default order flow can only be altered up to a certain limit. The idea behind it is that we always want you to have a working order flow as a fallback mechanism. So if you really want to structurally change an order flow, you have to first create your own. And I always do it by copying the existing one. And I'm going in, and here we have the order types, and each of those order types gives me access to the status transitions, because it's not a flow. It's not like it starts with new and it ends at completed, and there are all kinds of branches there. From new, there are two possible new statuses. I will discuss that in a second. From there are again two statuses. So let's look at the sales order in this case. We have all the order statuses. We see that for a sales order, there are 91 statuses in total. Go through it, you will see a lot of common things like the waiting for payment that we discussed. The CP status, where is it? Here it is. The completed status, this is where we want them to be the ready to complete, which is basically the step after generating the invoice before we actually complete the order. But we also see the new status here and the open status. Those are the statuses in itself. I can see if it's editable, if it is addable, deletable, payable, etc. I'm not sure why I would want to change that and where it is used. What I normally do is I would not go into the order status itself, but in the transition from one status to the next. So like I said, an order most of the time starts in the new status. So let's just search for it in the new status. And you see there are two possible flows. One is cancel order, the other is open order. And the transition types show as manual. Manual means there's a button in the UI. So if I have a sales order, and let's quickly create one. We have my Talbot here. Let's go and place an order, add a new order for that service plan for a month or for a year. Next. I don't need a domain name, username, and password are required in this case. So demo user, and let's generate a password. Next. And we place the order. Refresh. This order sits in the new status. So now we are at that point where we're waiting. And as I said, there should be two buttons. Well, there are four, but there are two buttons that are related to the flow. One is open order, the other is cancel order. Manual buttons, and it will stay in this status until somebody goes in and opens this order. If you don't want that, you can go in and change the flow. So let me go here. Let me go to the sales order and go to the order flow transitions. So I can alter this one and say, okay, I don't want this to be happening manual, but automatic. Or maybe as a result of a order flow handler or a condition. If that event is not there, guess what? All of a sudden, the system will not go further. If I do this and make it automatic, the system, when I place the order, will automatically go through. Might be an idea. If I still want it to be let's say manual, but I want the button to show a different language, I can do that too, because the action that I see here is the text on the button. It has to be something there, but if I want to just type go and save it and go back to my order, manual action required, here it is. It does not change it because the order is now bound. Oh, wow, cool. The order is now bound to the old version of the order flow because I did not set this order flow to be the active one. We see that order flow that is active is still number 1. Let's go back to order processing, all order flows. For the rest, don't play around too much with this. Don't take out scenarios. If you want to do this, work with our support team and our R&D team, please, because we have some statuses that need to be reached for things like for billing to work, for the system, a status that has a handler that sends information to the rating engine, etc., etc. If you take out those statuses because you think they don't do anything, you will break the process behind it. I see a hand up. Tell me, Ana Paula.
Just to check, the templates that are in there are notification templates, right?
Yeah, if you go to this one, if you look at success template name or fail template name, these are indeed notification templates. So one of the things, and you beat me to that, thank you, because now I can give the example. A tricky status is PF. No, let's go here. Because PF means provisioning failed. What do you want to do? You want to be on top of every order that is placed. That means that somehow you want a notification mechanism that allows you to somehow notify your staff that an order has failed, that a provisioning order has failed, that it's sitting waiting for troubleshooting. And you want that to come from the system, not from the customer. Hey, the customer says, hey, I see that my order failed. Can you fix it? You should have told the customer that provisioning failed, that you're on top of it, and that you will notify him when you fixed it, right? That is how you want to do that. You see a success status here. You see a fail status there. Fail status is the end status. Success status is the end status where it continues. In this case, if an order has the fail status, provisioning failed, you want to send out a fail template. If it goes to a success, you send out a success template, right? So the success matches the success, the fail matches the fail. So if it has failed and you fixed it, and you see that it now continues in the next step, which is paid or payment is postponed, but it's a success status, you can send out a success template. Hey, your provisioning had failed. We fixed it. We're working on it. Wait for the invoice to reach you, and then you can, etc., etc. So you can have the system notify you if provisioning failed. The downside is that all these statuses come from provisioning failed and go to provisioning failed. So these are, I would almost say, crappy statuses to troubleshoot and send notifications, because there's nothing that comes from another status, provisioning failed, and goes to provisioning failed. So how do you notify your customers? Well, there is a weird, I always found it weird until you know what the principle is. There is a success status that says provisioning failed. Why is it a success status? Because the question the system asks itself, Did provisioning fail? And then you have a yes or a no. The yes being the success, the no being the error, the fail. Provisioning failed. Yes. So from this one, you can send a notification, in this case, a success notification, to your customers and maybe CC or BCC to your support team that says your order failed. Put in the ID and order type and order number, etc., etc. So your support team can go from there and automatically filter. We see that your order failed. We are already working on it. We will notify you when we fixed everything. At that point, you have the system monitor itself and tell you when things went wrong. I think that if you really think about those order flows with those notification templates, that you can use the platform for way more than just selling. You can use the platform to monitor itself by sending out those notifications. I think that this notification template is not there, but we have order failed, we've got charge failed. That means that if we copy one of those, we have all the meta information to notify your customer, and you adapt the information inside that notification to reflect what you want to tell that customer. So for me, changing the order flow is something you should look into, not because you want to change the flow itself, because we've thought about that. This is probably one of the most optimized things in the platform, but to use that order flow to notify people as well as customers, people inside, as well as customers, that there's something wrong. If there is an order that goes into a no payment method attached or payment method not attached, NP, you want finance to know about it. So send it to finance. Set up a notification template that brings you to that one. This is not something that is written in stone. This is, for me at least, a mechanism that is evolving, because over time we have you find more notifications or more statuses that you think, hey, we should have known this. Okay, go in and verify it. The text could be very simple if it's just internal, right? It could be as simple as this order needs to be looked into. That's it. And combine that with your order queues. You log in, you don't see anything. Okay, this email was not for me. Somebody else does it, finance does it. They see that it's for them. They go in and fix it, right? That is a very powerful tool. Of course, you could separate, create a copy of that same notification, and the one you send to finance, the other one you send to tech support, the third one you send to whatever. But I think that using those order queues together with the order flow alterations that I mentioned give you a very powerful grip on your system and everything that happens in that system, where you can beat your customers to failing orders. You can tell your customers that you know that it failed, that you're working on it, even though you didn't notice it yourself. The system will tell them, BCCU, that it's there. As long as you pick it up from there, they have a feeling that you have a very good monitoring system, and that you every time beat them to the issues. You fix them before they know the issues are there. Having said that, there's one more thing I want to show you that is related to orders, and that is provisioning queues, because an order queue is just about an order type with a specific status. You can imagine that in some scenarios, you need to, let's say, specify it a little bit better. We have a team that is responsible for Microsoft. We have another team that is responsible for Acronis. So how do we make sure that these people get the right information when they log into the platform? Provisioning queues can help you there. I just want to show you the power of it. This might be something for you. This might also be something that you're not going to use anyway. But provisioning queues is this option in the menu. And you see there's nothing there by default. How do I get something there? By, like I said, I create a provisioning queue. And what I like about provisioning queues, from a visibility, it works just like an ordering queue. You give it a name and you assign it to a role. There's nothing different there. However, when you look at the queue details, it's way more granular, because I can say, okay, I want this queue to contain everything that has to do with, for instance, the Cloud VPS service template. Guess what? This is the product. This is the product. This is not the service plan. This is the service itself with all those resources in there. This is Microsoft. This is Acronis. This is Adobe, right? So if you are responsible for Adobe, put the service template for Adobe in there. Say, I want to include anything related to Adobe, but I want to exclude everything that goes okay. So anything that is in the completed status. 2 lines, and it filters, it gives you everything that is related to, in this case, that virtual private server thing. But I don't get to see anything that is in the completed status, because that works. 2 lines, I see what I need to see. If I now go here, I see that there are 2 things there. There are 2 subscriptions in the new status that need to be fixed. Maybe I should filter new out as well, because new means it did not go wrong yet. All right, let's go in there. Let's do that. Order processing, provisioning queue, this one, and add another detail where it should include everything that is in the new status. Where is it? Here. Save. Done. Very, very powerful. This could give you the tools to be quicker in finding issues, quicker in seeing, do I have work to do before I start my actual work? Do I have troubles to shoot that, etc., etc. So that is some of the advice I can give you using the platform. I hope that you learned something new, especially in this last part, that you can start using for your daily work. What questions do you have so far? If not, give me that thumbs up, please. I'm going to do this. Okay, I see lots of thumbs up. In that case, I want to thank you for joining me again today. I wish you a very good weekend, and I see you next week.
See you.